What is happening, Pokemoshpitbeta? My name is Wojton, and if by any chance it rings a bell with any of you, that's because I uploaded an underuse battle here a while ago. However, today I bring you something completely different, something that my channel is all about. A PU battle. Now I won't be surprised if some of you have no idea what PU possibly stands for, and that's because nobody really knows that, therefore you can name it how you want, like possible Ubers for instance. But the main idea is, you take the entire never used tier, and then choose a Pokemon that are never seen even in there, and forget about the rest of them. In my case, this operation is repeated up to the point where I end up with pokes that I almost never use competitively. So on my team, from more interesting things there is a wojton1314, offensive nasty plot Golbat, and especially defensive Yamask. My opponent is someone by the name of JaySmoove101, and on his side I don't really see anything very threatening, but at the same time it doesn't look like I can easily break through it. Alright, enough talk, let's get started. I lead off with Emolga, because Voltron combination seems to be quite threatening to his team, especially since Emolga outbeats everything on it, barring choice scarf users of course. He decides to lead off with Arbok, and the fact that he has Intimidate rather than Shed Skin tells me that he is most likely more defensive build, so with that in mind, I decide to play it obvious and Volt switch to Meditite, because I doubt that he will attack me right away. He goes for a Snatch, so I'm thinking either he has no idea what he's doing or he's making over predictions from the turn 1. In any case, I go for an obvious Psycho Cut, knowing that only Sorak on his team is able to sponge it, and he decides to snatch me again. He told me afterwards that he was predicting me to set up a sub predicting his switch, but the fact of the matter is, Meditite is Choice Scarf all-out attacker, so that over prediction cost him his Arbok very early in the game. Anyway, now he goes to his Sorak, and knowing that Will-O-Wisp is coming, I decide to switch to Emolga as a burn fodder, because although it cripples U-turn effectiveness, I can still use Volt Switch to keep my momentum, and also bypass residual damage. Then I try to incur him, just in case he wants to set up a Stealth Rock, but he decides to switch to Mr. Mime instead. Even with my attack halved, I go for a U-turn rather than Volt Switch for no particular reason other than showing him that I do actually carry it, because I know that with Mr. Mime's good special defense, Volt Switch won't do much more anyway. That play actually works out better than I expected, because he shows me a copycat right now, and with his Pitfall based 45 physical attack and Yamask's resistance, it does barely any damage. So as you probably noticed, he runs some very unusual movesets on his pokes, but so far they don't really work out for him. He brings his Pidgeotto and we exchange a Will-O-Wisp for a Toxic, and then I go for a Nightshade predicting some sort of switch, because I don't think that he can do anything to me other than that, but he stays in and sets up a Tailwind instead. Now I switch to Golbat because I don't want to take more toxic damage, but he gets a switch advantage thanks to U-turn and goes back to Mr. Mime. So I switch right back to Yamask as he tries to Thunder Wave me, because I know I can take a Psychic and recover the damage with a Pain Split. I take 2 Psychics and bring him down below half with a Pain Split combined with Nightshade, and then I decide to risk it and switch to Carvanha to take another, but he makes a good play, copycats my Nightshade instead, and does a solid 100 HP damage on my switch. Then I make another risky play and stay in despite the fact that I don't carry Protect, but it turns out I'm faster even before Vitek kicks in, and I easily take him out with a Crunch. He goes back to Pidgeotto, and knowing that he can take a hit and take me out of U-turn, I go back to Yamask, seeing a good opportunity to recover my health with a Pain Split. Turns out he was just trying to Life Orb stall me, so he roots back to full on my switch. U-turn does only 6 HP damage to me, so I'm indeed able to get a Pain Split off on his switch to Torpus, take almost half of his HP and recover a lot of my own. At this point I decide to stay in and go for a Will-O-Wisp to see what he wants to do. Now the fact that he sets up a Dragon Dance knowing that I have Will-O-Wisp should be a warning to me, but I didn't really think of it at the time. So my Will-O-Wisp misses, giving him a free Dragon Dance, and then it turns out that he has a Lamberry, so he sets up another free Dragon Dance, and because of his ability Harvest, he gets his berry back on the very same turn. But thankfully he gets greedy and sets up to +3 instead of attacking me, which allows me to reveal my last move, Haze, and remove all of his boosts before Toxic takes me out, so basically that one play saves me from getting swept by this thing. I go back to Meditite, and after that close call, I want him out of there more than anything, so once again I play it obvious and hit his Delcate with an Ice Punch on the switch. I get a random freeze on the way, but he goes out immediately and Thunder is my Golbat. Now though that his Mr. Mime is no longer around, he doesn't really have anything that can take me out in one hit, so I'm free to set up a nasty plot and do some heavy damage to his team. Unfortunately, I get fully paralyzed once, allowing him to pass a wish to his Tropius as I set up a Nasty Plot, and then once again giving him once more a free Dragon Dance. Third time is a charm though. I take an Aerialize and answer with +2 Air Slash, which turns out to be a one-hit KO. His Delcatty is able to finish me off every turn, but then back comes my Sad Onion to do the exact same thing to him with a high jump kick. I decide to play it safe though and make a double switch to Emolga to scout if he has Protect, and since he just goes for a Thunder Wave, that most likely is not the case. However, I don't want to risk my Choice Scarf attacker getting paralyzed if he predicts my switch, so instead I Thunder Wave him and let my X-Cloud do some work. He removes his paralysis with a Heal Bell on my switch, but return thanks to max HP investment doesn't even do half, and I finish his Delcatty off with a Frustration. He goes back to Zorak, obviously trying to burn me, so I switch back to Emolga to prevent that. Then I go for an Inkor once again, in case he tries to attack me, but once again he switches to Pidgeotto, predicting that. This is a part of the game where we played a lot of mind games. He switches back to Zorak again, predicting my Volt Switch, but I go for Thunder Wave, knowing that his Pidgeotto can't do anything to me, and also to render his Tailwind useless if he decides to set it up again. Now this may seem like a weird play, but there is actually a bit of thought behind it. I go for Thunder Wave again, because it's one of the two moves, the other one being Inkor, that I can use without switching out, and I want to stay in, because I know that he will go for a Will-O-Wisp, predicting me to Volt Switch out of there, predicting him just to attack me. I hope it makes sense to you. And then I go for a Volt Switch, because I'm pretty sure that at this point he will actually just try to take me out, and he does indeed hit me with Stone Edge. Despite it being an easy to hit KO from this range, he doesn't want to risk getting paralyzed or missing, so he decides to switch again to Pidgeotto, takes a Hammer Arm without a problem and Toxics me. Meanwhile, I just decide to roar him out of there to prevent him from roosting off the damage. Then I set up a Howl, thinking maybe he will get paralyzed or miss a Stone Edge, and what do you know, he does get paralyzed. So he just switches back and forth trying to Toxic Stall me, but Stab +1 Frustration brings both of his remaining Pokemon low enough that Carvanha can come in, clean up the field, and that is finally the game. Good game, JaySmoove. Seeing your unusual movesets, I thought that this is going to be quick and easy, but then you proved me completely wrong. I definitely enjoyed it. If you guys did as well, or you like the concept of PU in general, you are more than welcome to subscribe to my channel, because that's what I'm mostly uploading, alongside with other battles that you might have never even seen before. For now, this is Wojton, signing out. I see you all next time.